What's up, guys? Scotty2Hockey here. Open ice hits, going live for the first time in a while. Attempt number 10. Hopefully I can get somebody in here to let me know if this live stream is actually working. I've typed in my stream key. I've done everything they said you can do with the OBS setup. Never told anybody I was going live. I was just playing with my Streamlabs, and for some reason it would not let me go live. Now, I'm going to check on my YouTube channel to see if it says I'm live on my phone. It says I'm live on my phone. So, hey, HawksFan88, what's up, man? So yes, my live stream works. Can you hear me good? Can you see me good? The live chat's working on my monitor, but for some reason, after 20 attempts, I could get my live stream to work. It's been a while since I've live streamed, but let's talk about some hockey. Hawks are doing pretty good lately, too. I'm going to get into Montreal's numbers here now soon, guys. I just have to get to my live chat on my phone so I can look at my live chat. I'm using two different monitors. The one in front of me has my Streamlabs OPS. The one next to me has my YouTube. And hopefully I can get the live chat up on my phone. Let's check this out. On my phone so I can look at my live chat. Whoa, that's not good. Live stream is working great. Thanks a lot, HawksFan88. I literally wasn't planning on going live today. Just had a bit of free time on my hands. So let's get into some numbers for the Habs this year, guys. I was looking at Montreal's overall record. They are playing great this year. A lot of interesting news going around in the league. Montreal Canadiens. HawksFan88 is working great. Perfect. You guys have any questions, any hockey talk? Give me a question. I'll answer it for sure. I made this live stream to talk mainly about Montreal, but I'm willing to talk about any NHL team. I follow pretty much basically the entire NHL. Don't watch a lot of Toronto games. Don't watch a lot of Boston games. Don't watch a lot of teams like LA. I do like Chicago. My stepdad is a diehard Chicago Blackhawks fan. Bobby Hull is his favorite player. Really good to see the Hawks win the cup a couple times because my whole lifetime he's been one of those Hawks fans that's just been depressed. They can't see their team win a cup. Chicago wasn't good for most of my lifetime, but the past 10 years they have been amazing. I said when they drafted Jonathan Toews he was going to make a huge difference for that team, and he definitely did. Who gets traded at the deadline from the Habs? Michael Chaput did last year. Who gets traded at the deadline from the Habs this year? At the deadline from the Habs, traded this year. I don't know if they would. I would assume they would trade prospects. If they were going to trade, I could see him trading maybe lower tier prospects like Jaden Struble off the team. Who would they trade off the team? I don't really see anybody. There's a couple of guys on 1 years they could move at the deadline if they were looking to bring a guy. And a couple depth players like Nick Cousins, Nate Thompson. Nate Thompson could get traded at the deadline. He's on a 1 year deal. He's coming down to the end of his career. He's been playing really well. Could be a bit of value there. But as far as their top end guys go, maybe Paul Byron. Paul Byron could be on the way out. The way he's playing, he could even end up on waivers. He's turned it around the past few games, but overall, haven't been impressed with Paul Byron's performance. A lot of trade rumors going around about that guy. Sorry, guys. I had to get a drink in, but thanks to everybody who does view and join in the chat. Hopefully, we can get a few of my Habs fans in here. Good to see a Hawks fan in here. Any fan of any team is welcome here. If a Toronto fan wants to come to my channel and troll the chat and give me something to fire back with, no problem. As long as it's not too extreme. No cursing, no nothing like that. I have a few kids that view my channel. I try and keep it PG that way. But when it's with a Toronto fan, it may go a bit sideways there, guys. But let's get into the Montreal Canadiens stats. Haven't done a live stream in a while, so I'm sorry it's a bit choppy at first, but we'll get some good Habs talk here going for sure. I'd like to talk a lot about Carey Price lately. Carey Price has looked phenomenal the past few games. In the LA game, LA didn't show much. They had a decent first period, I guess. Montreal dominated most of that play, but they did have a big push at the end. And yes, Price let in a goal at the end with the last 2 minutes. The Habs tied it up, but he was solid in overtime. He won the game. Been loving Carey Price lately. You look at his numbers, especially the past 3 games, his numbers have been phenomenal. But overall, in 15 games played, Price has 9 wins, 4 losses, 2 overtime losses, a 2.65 goals against, a .916 save percentage. I'm sure that will go up a little bit. .916 isn't bad by no means, but by Carey Price's standards, it's average. And then we look into Keith Kinkaid. He does have the 1 win, but honestly, his overall numbers aren't much better than Antti Niemi, and Antti Niemi's numbers at this time last year were better than Keith Kinkaid's. Talking Habs, go Leafs, go! Hey, Talking Habs, how's it going, bud? I seen your podcast last night, your Don Cherry, or I seen it today actually, your one from last night, your Don Cherry podcast. One of your best videos, man. Excellent, valid points. I like the way you have that set up too with the headphones on. It makes you sound a lot clearer. Your Don Cherry podcast, if you haven't seen it, guys, check out Talking Habs with Rick. He does a podcast. He talks a lot about his thoughts on the Don Cherry subject. Excellent, excellent. One of his best videos for sure. I can see either Mike Riley or Ben Sherratt out the door. Ben Sherratt, maybe. Mike Riley, I could definitely see out the door. He doesn't have a lot of value. If teams wanted him, maybe he'd go on waivers. I don't think Mike Riley has a ton of value. Maybe Brett Kulak. I could see Brett Kulak getting traded. He hasn't been what we've expected. He hasn't been terrible by no means, but he's a guy who you could potentially trade. Mike Riley, I could see going. Ben Sherratt, I don't think MB would trade him at that deadline after giving him the contract he did this year. He's or coming up at this deadline, after giving him the contract he did this summer. He's been all right the past few games. He's really been turning it up a lot the past few games, and even offensively, he's been producing. But I don't think Ben Sherratt would get traded. I think Mike Riley could definitely get traded. Paul Byron could be on the way out the door, and Brett Kulak is another potential guy who could get traded. Defenseman in Montreal I've been really impressed with is Victor Mete. Victor Mete has been really stepping it up this season. He had no goals in 2017, 2018, all of last year, and now this year he has 3 goals. And Talking Habs with Rick knows this. Rick knows this because we did a season preview and I predicted it. I said Victor Mete will have 5 goals this year. He thinks Mete will have 8. Maybe we'll meet in the middle and the guy will have 6 or 7. We'll see. But thank you for joining the live stream, guys. It's been a while since I've live streamed. I'm a bit rusty at this. I'm just used to doing my couple game reviews, videos here and there. I cannot wait for after the draft to do some prospect reviews. You guys know how much I love doing my prospect reports. I can't wait to do a video on Cole Caulfield. I've been working on a Cole Caulfield video. Oh, we got Talking Habs talking to Hawks fan. I wasn't looking at the live chat. Sorry about that, guys. For some reason, it isn't coming up in my thing. Why isn't my live chat working? Oh, okay, there you go. There you go. Talking Habs got a new subscriber, HawksFan88. HawksFan88 is a good subscriber. He's commented on a few of my videos so far. And I have a lot of respect for Chicago Blackhawks fans because I grew up my dad raised me, yes, but my stepdad raised me just as much, if not more than what my actual dad raised me. Die-hard Blackhawks fan. He was a Metro bus driver here in St. John's for 22 years, recently retired last year. And when the Chicago Blackhawks won the Cup, every year for a full week, he wore his Chicago Blackhawks uniform, driving the bus. He was a senior guy. He was one of the management. Technically, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to be in your bus driver uniform. But it's Newfoundland. A lot of hockey fans here. No one gave him shit for it. And, man, he is a die-hard Blackhawks fan. Bobby Hull's his favorite player. He's really big on Duncan Keith now. And in the current generation of Chicago Blackhawks, his favorite player on the team was Duncan Keith. And he likes Corey Crawford, too. But his favorite player on Chicago was, without a doubt, Duncan Keith. My stepdad's big on that guy for sure. Talking Habs says, I'm looking to see how Suzuki responds to third line C over a good sample size. Man, Suzuki was awesome last game. Crucial in the last minute getting that pass over to Tuna. Beautiful pass by Suzuki, but even before that, in the second period, behind the net, cycling with the puck. There was one point he was behind the opposing team's net, and the 2 players were coming at him, and he managed to cycle it. He managed to spin his way out of it, get it passed out to the front of the net. It almost created a scoring chance. Unfortunately, the other Montreal player's stick got lifted. Nothing came of it, but it was a really good individual play by Suzuki. Defensively, he looked a lot better he looked a lot better 3 or 4 games ago defensively. The past few games, defensively, I've noticed a few errors. I've noticed a few turnovers where he's getting knocked off the puck. But offensively, he looks like he's really stepping up his game. And if we can get even a couple more glimpses of that kid that was in the OHL, Nick Suzuki could easily have 40, 45 points this year. If he really stepped it up, he's on pace for around, 30 points, 35 points. He isn't bad by no means. He isn't playing phenomenal. Like a lot of people said coming into this season, he would possibly be a Calder finalist. He'd possibly be a finalist for the Calder. I don't think he's going to be a finalist for the Calder at this point. Way too much catching up to do. Look at what McCarr is doing. Look what Olofsson's doing in Buffalo. Look at what Quinn Hughes is doing. But really, really good, solid young rookie. A lot of Habs fans have actually called him average and are disappointed by Suzuki's performance. I don't know what you guys expected. He's a really good young player, but he wasn't expected to come into the league and light it up and be an immediate 80-point player. If he had 40 points, a good plus minus, the Habs made the playoffs, and he played the full 82 games of the season, I would be more than happy with that. I don't believe he's been scratched yet. Maybe he was scratched for a game. I don't believe he has been scratched yet in the season. That little pass to Deneau was brilliant. Yeah, that little pass, that's the one I believe I'm talking about. Yeah, that little pass to Deneau was brilliant. And the pass at the end of the game, in the last, 55 seconds left, Seth Jones almost scores. One end of the ice, Montreal has an open net. Seth Jones shoots it from the Columbus end, goes all the way up the ice, hits the post, turns into an icing. Montreal gets a face-off in the Columbus zone, wins the face-off, gets it over to Suzuki. Suzuki gets a beautiful, slick cross-ice pass to Tuna. Tuna had a wide open cage on that beautiful, beautiful goal. That game was awesome because that was a game they deserved to win, in my opinion. And I thought it was going to be one of those traps games. They lose it in the last minute to a team they should have beaten, but no, they pulled it off. They scored in the last minute. They got into the shootout. Jonathan Drouin with that nifty little backhand between the legs. What's his goalie's name? Elvis Merlikins. He played really good. He let in that really bad goal by Gallagher from just inside of the blue line, in between his pads. That was a terrible goal that he let in on the Gallagher goal. But overall, man, he made some excellent saves. Montreal could have won that game easily 5-1, 5-2, something like that. It was good to see Columbus look all right and compete with the Habs, but I'm glad that the Habs won that game. Like I said, I don't hate Columbus. I'm kind of pissed that they knocked Montreal. Them and Carolina stole the wildcard spots, one of the wildcard spots Montreal could have had last year, and it was really, really close, as we all know. But Columbus is a team I actually don't mind. I don't like Carolina at all. I've never liked the Carolina Hurricanes, but Columbus is a team I don't mind. Ian Higgins, Suzuki is talented. Lax Higgins, welcome to the live chat, my friend. And yes, Suzuki is very talented. Have you seen him in the OHL? Man, the one thing that stands out to me about Suzuki, his skating could be a bit better, is his cycling, his movement with the puck, his ability to get the puck and do these little spin moves, come in behind the boards, make it look like he's going to keep skating, then all of a sudden, quick turn, and he's out and circling around the front of the net, making a pass. Has really good hands. I like his shot. The kid's extremely talented, and he's very solid defensively. I like what I see from him. Like you say, he's only a 20-year-old kid. To have 7 points in his first, 18 or 19 NHL games, there's nothing wrong with that. He should finish the season around 35 to 40 points, which in my opinion is a strong rookie campaign. But he looks like the type of kid that's going to get better and better every game, and I like what I'm seeing from the kid so far. Eventually, I really do believe he will be top 6 in Montreal, maybe even someday a top line player. KK this year has been a letdown. He only has, 3 points. He hasn't played in the past few games, I know, but even the games he played in, he did have some quality scoring attempts. His defense was questionable, but KK I expected a lot more from. KK I expected to come in. He looked really good at the end of the season, except for the last 5 or 6 games where he was a bit fatigued. But for the most part, after the All-Star break, KK looked really good, and I expected him to come into this season, put up 5 goals in the first 10 or 15 games, have 10 or 15 points within the first 20, 25 games, but he only has 3 points, and it's almost 20 games, 2 goals, and they were in, the first 3 games of the season. He's been disappointing so far. I want to see him come back from injury and play good at least. At least finish the season with more points than what you had last year. But I can't complain with the prospects we have. Haven't seen much from Paling yet. He didn't play last game, if I'm not mistaken. Hawks fans, they say, I can see a team with a bad contract. Oh, I can see a team with bad contracts pick up Mike Raleigh, too. Or even just a team that wanted a good skating defenseman, a defenseman that can carry the puck into the zone. Mike Raleigh has good offensive talent. He can get the puck on his stick. He can fly up the ice. He can skate it in the zone. He has good hands. He has a good shot. He can produce, not astronomical numbers, but he can produce on the offensive end. It's just his defense is horrible in his own zone. He's always out of position. He has no battle for the puck. It seems every time he's on the ice, if it's in the Montreal Canadiens zone, something bad happens. His defense he's so unreliable on the defensive end. It's like Julien don't want to give him any more chances. It really seems he's so unreliable on the defensive end. It's really biting him, because if he was a little bit better on the defensive end, if he could shore up that defense, man, Mike Riley could be a really good player. Like, he looked really good. I believe it was in 2017, 2018. Yeah, or last year, the first 50 games last year, he looked good, but his defense just dropped off. Cale Fleury looks amazing on the defensive end. What a physical young player. I don't know if he still leads all rookies in hits, but he was at one point leading all rookies in hits, and he's definitely up there. He's definitely top 3 right now in amongst hits in rookies. Man, he sends chills up the bones of opposing players on the ice. I like Cale Fleury. Just imagine him in 4 or 5 years. He's going to be a nasty player. He's going to be a defenseman teams do not want to play against. He crushes guys. Like, for a young player, as young as he is, for what he should be, I did not think, when I did my Cale Fleury prospect report, everything I watched on the guy, he has good offensive talent. He is really solid defensively, and he did look pretty physical. I did not think he was like he is, man. He's a nasty player, and he's a really good addition to the Habs. He's the type of player we needed on that blue line. Don't get me wrong, love Shea Weber, excellent captain, excellent defender, can lay the body when he wants to, but it's not his main thing. It's not what he looks to. Cale Fleury hunts you down. If you're coming into his zone and he can hit you, he's doing everything he can to hit you and put every bit of mustard he can on that sub. Love Cale Fleury, man. He's been awesome. Okay, let's look at the recent live chat. I keep turning because I had the live chat on my side screen here. My monitor in front of me is a bit screwed up. It's so awkward doing live streams like this. But thank you for the people who did tune in. I'm never announced it. It's the first time I've gone live in a month. I'm really rusty at live stream. But I'd love to do a game someday soon, like even tomorrow night's game. If I have the free time tomorrow night, I'm going to try my best to live stream tomorrow night's game. I got to get a couple games in this season. Really loved doing it last year. I said at the beginning of the season I was going to do as many live streams as I could. I was going to try and do a live stream every Sunday. Unfortunately, fortunately for me, but unfortunately for the viewers who want to see me do my live streams, I have a new job, and it's a really good new job, but I'm a bartender, so I'm dependent on at night, and most of the games for the Montreal Canadiens are at night. My shifts always start at 8 o'clock here in Newfoundland. The game always comes on around 8:35 here in Newfoundland, so I'm never home on time to do a live stream. If it's a daytime game, I'm home with my daughter. The only games I can ever find time to do a live stream for are late games, and usually by the time they come on, I'm too tired to do a live stream anyway. So tomorrow I have some free time. I'm going to do my best to do a live stream of the game. I really like to. It's really good to interact with the fans of the Montreal Canadiens, interact with the fans of the channel, get some new subscribers, and if you are watching this and you haven't yet, please smash that subscribe button. There's going to be lots of new features on this channel. I'll be doing prospect reports. I'll be doing as many game reviews as I can. I'll be updating news on players, any injuries, anything like that, any changes to the lineup. Of course, I will have a video about it. I always do when there's a big change to the lineup. And another thing that's new on this channel, some people may be into it, some people maybe not. Going to be doing a lot of hockey card breaks. Like, going to try and do one a week. I'm going to try and do SP Authentic tomorrow. I'm really pumped about that. It's a really good hockey card brand. It's not an expensive brand, but you can get some beautiful hits. Like, there's cards out of SP that are worth over $2,000. Like, they're beautiful. More than that, there's some beautiful hits. I seen a guy on YouTube the other day actually break open a Brady Tkachuk patch auto, numbered out of like 20. There's only 25 in the world, numbered out of 25. He had the number 1. Beautiful. He only paid $45 for that box of cards. So I'm a really big hockey card collector, so I will be doing some breaks on this channel as well. But anyways, back into the actual hockey talk. I can see him getting traded. Mike Riley, Paling. Paling is in Laval again. I did not know Paling was in Laval again. I will have to do a video on that for sure. This is new news to me. This must have happened recently, did it, Rick? Because I did not hear that Paling was in Laval. I've been going through my Montreal Canadiens Twitter, been going through my feed. I was pretty busy yesterday, not going to lie. I worked last night, but I did not know Paling was in Laval. Is this recent events that he got sent to Laval? I'll be doing a video on that for sure, because I'm kind of surprised he's already been sent to Laval. But one reason why I could see why he's sent to Laval, KK must be healthy. Because I was watching an interview where Stu Cowan was talking the other day, and he's at the Habs practices. He watches them live at practice, and he said KK looks fine. He looks like nothing happened to him. He looks like the same player he did when he went before the injury. So hopefully that's the case, because I don't want to see Ryan Paling get yanked already. He's only had a small sample size. He only played 2 games. Like, I don't even know if he played 2. I know he played 1 for sure. He's not ready yet. Okay. He's not ready yet. I don't know. It's too much of a small sample size to say Paling isn't ready yet. He looked really good in the preseason. He looked really good in his NHL debut, he looked rusty in his first few starts in Laval, and then he really started getting it going. Looked like one of the better defensive players on the team, and was picking it up offensively. I think he's just one of those guys. Just give him a bit of, at least give him 4 or 5 games. I don't understand what they're doing with Poehling there. To say he's not ready yet, it's been too small of a sample size. Maybe he has a bit of jitters where he got sent down to the AHL and he's so nervous and he wants to play well in the NHL that he didn't perform up to his standards. Maybe he was a bit too nervous. But I believe Poehling has more to offer for sure, especially from what I've seen from him in the preseason. Like, I don't forget the Florida game where Poehling came in, made it look like he was going to shoot the puck, and as soon as he was in front of the goal, he got that pass over. Beautiful pass, and he had a goal in that game too. He looked like a man among boys at development camp. Really kind of shocked he's already been sent back down. KK must be healthy because he got brought up because KK was hurt. So that way it doesn't shock me, and I can't see them taking somebody like Nick Cousins or Nate Thompson out of the lineup. Definitely not Nick Suzuki. So it makes sense that he got sent down. I don't think it's so much that he's not ready. I think it's so much that there's no spot on the team for him and they don't want to keep him up there and sit him in the press box. But that's just my opinion. Maybe they already said they don't believe he's ready. KK is back tomorrow, I think Rick says, and I hope you're right. I really do hope you're right because I want to see KK picking it up, man. He's 3 points and it's almost 20 games in. Get this kid back. Let him have a few big games. I hope he has a game where he has like 3 points in a game. He can do it. He did it last year. I really, really do hope this kid picks it up because I have high if anybody's seen my Spiri Kakniemi is going to be a superstar one day video, I have high expectations for this kid. And I said in that video, it wouldn't shock me if he hit a slump this year. The sophomore jinx is a real thing. It happened to some really good players. But I don't want this to be a trend with KK. He's a guy, out of all the prospects on the team, I have really high aspirations for KK. I really do. Hawks fan 88, Price is looking a lot like the old Carey Price, especially in the past 3 or 4 games. Price is looking on point this season. He's been super impressive. Some of the saves he's making, like, it's been vice versa with the Habs and Price. There's been 1 or 2 games where the Habs bailed Price out where he did have a bad game. There was one where he allowed 5 goals and the Habs still won 6-5. I believe that was the Toronto game. And there was another one where they bailed Price out. But for the most part, it's been Price bailing the Habs out late in games too. Like in the Columbus game, I know the Habs deserved to win that game, but Price had to make some stellar saves to keep him in that game late. And even when he did let that one in late, that was after a bunch of breakdowns in front of the net. Like there was a pile of breakdowns in front of Price. There was one breakdown where I believe it was Texier had 3 whacks in front of the net at Price, and he made 3 nice stops. So he is looking like the Carey Price of old. Let's hope it continues, because anybody who knows this channel and knows me, Carey Price is my #1 favorite player in the history of the NHL. Not just in Montreal, not just currently, in the history of the NHL. He's the guy who really turned me into a diehard Habs fan. When I was a kid, until about 13, 14, yes, I was a big Montreal fan. Montreal was my team, but when Carey Price came along, I was hooked on the Habs. I didn't miss a game. I had to follow everything that dude did. In the World Juniors, I loved him. I was so pumped when he won the Calder Cup, like, even coming into the league, before he came into the league, I was big on this guy. It's because my dad's a Habs fan too. My dad was big on him. My dad was like, look at this guy. He's going to be the future. And then he came into Montreal, and then he had his ups and downs for sure. But into his second year, he started looking like the Carey Price we know. And history writes itself after that. Love Carey Price. He needs a cup, though. To go down as a goalie who's won the Hart, Vezina, Jennings, Olympic gold, World Junior gold, a Calder Cup, you need a stand. To put that cup in the trophy cabinet just solidifies Price as a surefire Hall of Famer, as one of the best Habs goalies of all time. Can't say he's the best, obviously. We've had Ken Dryden win, 6 cups. We've had Patrick Waugh win 2 cups here, go on to Colorado to win 2 cups. But if he got a cup in that trophy case, there would be a damn good argument for it for sure. Oh, I'm loving Cale Fleury. Hawks fan 88, I'm loving Cale Fleury. Honestly, right now, he's, out of all the young prospects, yes, Nick Suzuki's been fun to watch. Cale Fleury's my favorite just because of the physicalness. He crushes guys. Love his hits. That's the biggest part about his game. I love it. Eventually, one of these days, I'm going to make, and probably in 3 or 4 years when he gets a bit of a career going, I'm going to make a Cale Fleury greatest hits, and it's going to be a compilation of just Cale Fleury crushing somebody, and I cannot wait to do that someday. They sent Poehling down yesterday. I'm really shocked I didn't hear anything about that, because I typed in I usually when I get up in the morning and I'm looking for Habs stories, I type in Montreal Canadiens news, and there's 5 or 6 different little bubbles that pop up on the page, and you can click on them like those ones where they pretty much give you a headline and give you an idea of what they're talking about. There was nothing there about Paling. There was something about some guy in one of the lower tier prospects tearing it up, and I believe Denver. He was playing really good in Denver. They were talking about Cole Caulfield. They were talking about how good the Habs have been, how Price has been lately. I didn't see a thing on Paling, so it kind of shocks me that I didn't hear about Ron Paling so far this year. Let's look at some of Montreal's numbers, though. I'm going to go to a site the site that I like the best, the Hockey Reference. I always go to the Hockey Reference when I'm looking at team numbers because they go really in depth into their team numbers. And overall, Montreal's record has been awesome. They're second in the Atlantic currently. 10-5-3 record, 23 points, second in the Atlantic Division. The last win, they won 3-2 over the Columbus Blue Jackets. Their goals for this season, they have 64 goals for, 6th in the NHL in goals for. Goals against, 56, 16th in the NHL. So the goals against is average, and the goals for is excellent. A lot of those goals are coming from the blue line. Montreal leads the league in goals by defensemen overall. If you tallied all their defensive goals, they lead the league in that category. I believe it's 14 now. It was 13 last time I checked. Let's look at some of Montreal's player stats. They don't have them listed. Oh, there you go. Team leader right now, currently in... Well, it's tied, actually. It's a two-way tie. Brendan Gallagher doesn't lead the team? Wow. I never looked after the last game, see, but I'm kind of... Drouin is having one hell of a season. Right now, Drouin, 18 games played, 7 goals, 8 assists, 15 points, a +4, only 6 penalty minutes, 6 even strength goals, 1 power play goal, 5 even strength assists, 3 power play assists. Drouin is doing really good this year, but on the power play, he could produce even more. I know he only had like 15 power play points last year, but he's looking like a guy who's really going to step it up on the power play. Drouin this year looks night and day different from what he did last year, and the thing that's making him look night and day different from what he did last year, not the fact that he's producing, because he was producing at this point last year. Him and Domi were the team leaders in points at this point last year, doing just as good points-wise as what he was this year, pretty much damn close to it for sure. And Drouin looked excellent at this point last year, but one thing that makes Drouin look different is his work ethic, his play in his own zone, his ability to create the play for himself. He has 2 goals this season where he created it himself. He caused the opposing player to make the turnover. He took the puck off their stick. He used his speed to get into the opposing team zone, and he made a nice play beating the goalie, and it was all created by him. Last year, I don't believe any of Drouin's goals last year came off a play. He created himself like that. It was either somebody else fishing the puck out, getting him to him getting a nice shot off, or him waiting on the corner for a nice shot. He had a couple nice shots from the left side last year, but I don't remember any goals where Drouin truly worked for it, fought for the puck, got it himself, and came in. A couple 2-on-1 plays with him and Domi, but not like what he's doing this year. His work ethic this year is night and day better than what it was last year. I think he got the message this summer, because if you've seen Talking Habs with Rick channel, if you followed my channel, most Habs fans channel and NHL's fans channel in general, the knock on Jonathan Drouin is he has all the tools, he has all the talent. Why doesn't he work harder? Why doesn't it show up every single night? Well, lately he's been packing his lunchbox, he's been putting on his work boots, and he's been showing up to work every night, giving 110%. And at the end of the season, if he keeps this effort, wouldn't shock me at all if Drouin finished with 70-odd points, or 70 points. Easily surpasses his career high, has a good plus-minus for once, and if he does, man, oh man, it's looking good for the Montreal Canadiens, because they did give away a good player for Jonathan Drouin. They gave away Mikhail Sergachev, a guy who was up for the Calder in his very first season. Struggled a little bit at certain points last year, but is still looking good this year, and is a really good young left-handed defenseman. You got to remember, Sergachev, only just turned 20 years old, really young player, going to have one hell of a career. So to give away a piece like that, you better get a good piece in return. And fortunately for us, it's looking like we are getting a good piece in return. I don't care if Jonathan Drouin matches his career high and there's no effort with it and he drops off in the last 20 games. I would see him rather match his career high and fight every single night and do everything he can, work hard, and help the team win that way than just float around, have a couple good games where he puts up 5 points, blows the door off some teams, and then disappears for 10 games. It's not the Jonathan Drouin I want to see. I'm happy with the Jonathan Drouin we're seeing right now. Now let's look at some of these comments. He played 4 or 5 games. I'm liking Cale Fleury. Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate that. Like you say, I wasn't expecting a lot of people to view this. I wasn't expecting the chat to explode or anything like that. But I'll go on. I'll go a little bit more with this live stream. It's not my typical live stream. Usually, I have everything prepared. I know what I want to talk about ahead of time. I make an announcement. There's a few people coming in and out of the stream, so I know there's going to be people in it. But I really appreciate talking Habs with Rick and Habs Hawks Fan 88. This has been one of my lower viewed live streams, I suppose. That I usually at least have 6 or 7 people in the chat, but let's look at some more standouts for the Habs right now. Thomas Tatar right now in 18 games played, he's tied for the team lead, 6 goals, 9 assists, 15 points, is a +3, 20 penalty minutes though. Oh man, Tatar, 20 penalty minutes, bro. He needs to get more discipline for sure. I'm loving Tatar's numbers. It's good to see him tied for the team lead in points, but he's killing us with those penalties. That's a lot of PIMs for not even 20 games into the season. That's over a penalty a game. His even strength goals, he has 4. His power play goals, he has nice power play points. He has 2 power play goals. Thomas Tatar has 0 game winning goals, 7 even strength assists and 2 power play assists. And his shooting percentage is 12.2. Drouin's shooting percentage this season is 17.1%. But anyways, guys, there's not a lot of viewers in on this live stream, but stay tuned for tomorrow night. I'm going to do my best to do a live stream of the game. Wasn't prepared for this at all. I was really just trying to get my OBS working. I attempted to go live 5 times, couldn't get it working, was going to do a quick little 5-minute live stream. But I really appreciate you talking Habs with Rick and Hawks Fan 88 and the other guy who came in, EX something, I can't remember all the names. Lax Higgins, Lax Higgins, talking Habs with Rick, Hawks Fan 88. For you guys viewing my quick stream, I really appreciate it. And stay tuned for my live stream of tomorrow night's game. Go Habs, go. Scotty2Hockey. New name, open heist hits. Let me know what you think of the new name. Over and out.